Hi, I'm Nadine Gilkison, one of Franklin Township's District Technology Integration Specialists. And today I'm going to be talking about a mini lesson that I've been doing recently in classrooms from kindergarten all the way up to third grade. And the mini lesson has to do with word choice. So on the screen, you see the topic, what do you see? What do you think? What do you wonder? Well, when I kick off this mini lesson on word choice, it has to do all about images because kids are used to looking at images, but really quickly and not thinking very deeply about those images. So, this mini lesson is going to focus on how to get kids to get better word choice when they are focusing on an image. So, one of the first things I'm going to tell you is that I actually have this presentation, it's projected onto a screen. It's actually not sent out to the students on Google Classroom or any other LMS. And in a little while, we'll talk about the reason why I don't have it sent out to them right away. Okay, now with this strategy, I kick right into the first picture. And what I start off by asking the students is, can anyone tell me what they see in this picture? Now, notoriously, and this is exactly what I want the kids to say, they'll tell me, I see a firefly. And I said, well, we're going to work on a strategy today to help us to think deeper and going beyond just seeing the firefly. So to get started, we'll get more descriptive with that. So I'll say, I see a firefly resting on the palm of someone's hand. And all of this is being triggered through discussion with the students. I'm not feeding them all of this information. We're having that collaborative discussion when we're sitting there with the mini lesson. Now, after they repeat that sentence to me, then I talk to them about, what time of day is it? And after having a longer discussion about that, then the students and I discover that it's actually at dusk. They want to kick in by saying sunset. And then I immediately say, you're so close. Now let's talk about that time of day when the sun is just going down, but it's not quite dark. It's another word that could be similar to sunset. And then we get to dusk. So to wrap up this section of what do you see, then the students will repeat after me, I see a firefly resting on the palm of someone's hand at dusk. Okay? Then we move on to the second section. What do you think? And I start to ask the students, whenever we look at a photograph, and also I apply this to songs as well, we are triggered with memories that flood into our brain. So I wanted them to look at the photograph and I wanted it to tap into some of their memories of when they were catching a firefly. And tapping into those details that we need to focus on with that situation as well. So I gave them an example and I said, I remember chasing fireflies vividly in the backyard of my grandparents' house with my brother Stephen, and we were about 7 or 8 years old. As the sun was setting, my grandma Conway brought us glass jars to lure the lightning bugs for capture and some lemonade to sip as we were scampering across the yard. And then we talked back and forth as a group about all the ways that I was adding details in there. And I said, now it's your turn. I want you to tell me about an experience of when you were catching a firefly. Who were you with? Where were you at? Can you remember any other details of information about that specific moment? Now, you may have this happen. I have had some students that told me, you know what, I've actually never caught a firefly before, so I guess I can't write anything. And I said, oh, no. What we can focus on instead is what would be the perfect scenario for you to catch that firefly? Who would you want to be with? Where would you be? What time of day would it be when you're doing that? And so on. And then that way I'm ensuring that all students are participating. Okay? Then the third phase is entering into what do you wonder? And I always think that it's good for students to tap into that curiosity. Now I ask them, I say, now if I could have a lightning bug expert come into this classroom today, what would be a question that you would want to ask that person? So we discuss back and forth some possible questions that we would want to ask that person. And then here's where the big reveal comes in. I tell the students that photos have to come from somewhere. And this photograph that I've been sharing for this strategy actually came from someplace. And this reason right here is why I'm not sending it out to the students, because I want to be able to reveal this to them. So I'm going to tap on the link and it's going to kick into the article where that picture came from. And this actually came from an article in Wonderopolis, Where Do Lightning Bugs Go During the Day? Which piques their interest. And if I'm dealing with the younger grades, then I go through and I read portions of the article to them. Obviously, if they're in third grade, then they can go on and read it themselves. Then I challenge them and I say, now I want you to give me a detailed response about where lightning bugs go during the day. And I also stress to them that as they see these yellow words that are highlighted, that I want them to try to incorporate some of those wonder words in their response. An example could be that a student says, with fireflies being nocturnal, we learned that they sleep during the day. The insects are commonly found amid tall grasses close to the base of the plant. And then we have that discussion with students saying, ooh, what wonder words did you hear in that? And so on. Now, I always want to make sure that for our teachers that they know that this is not just a one and done. With the resource that I've created that I go into model, I then have a variety of other photos for them to continue this interaction with their classes at another time, or even after I move on out of the classroom. I've given them actually a total of about 24 different pictures that are part of this presentation. I am going to point out that on slide 25, for grades 3 through 5, I also have another resource that has this same thinking routine of see, think, and wonder, and it ties into photographs that go with current event articles. So be sure to take a look at both of those and get started with this mini lesson in your classroom today.